Father Crispino, Principal Ms. Meena Saldana, PYP Coordinator Ms. Gladys Gonzalez, AY Coordinator Ms. Charlotte Fernandez, heads of various departments, respected teachers, parents, and my dear friends, we welcome you to the primary inter-house debate. Debate provides experiences that are conducive to life-changing, cognitive, and presentational skills. They can help students understand essential critical thinking and presentation skills. It instills in debaters a great sense of poise and confidence. Let me introduce you to the jury for today's debate, Ms. Melissa Fernandez and Mr. Shannon Noguera. Ms. Melissa has completed 16 years of teaching in reputed schools in India and abroad. She has taught varied curriculums, namely SSC, ICSE, GCSE UK, IGCSE, and IB. At DBIS, she teaches IGCSE History and Global Perspectives. She's also the Tier K coordinator and grade 11th HRT in the IBDP. She enjoys singing and playing music. Mr. Shannon is an English and geography educator in DBIS. He's also taught creative writing to students in countries like USA, UK, Singapore, Australia, UAE, and Cyprus. He's featured in several magazines and online news portals for his work in the field of education. Earlier in this year, he was awarded the title of Most Inspiring Young Professional in the Field of Education by the HR College, Mumbai. He shares a special interest in sports, music, drama, and elocution. The chairs for today's events are Ms. Hemangini Gupta and Ms. Sabrina Mukadam.
Thank you, Rhea, for addressing the House and highlighting the importance of debates. We, Ms. Hemangini Gupta and Ms. Sabrina Mukadam, will be chairing this event. The House will now come to order. We begin this session with the roll call. Participants are requested to confirm their presence by saying a yes. From Amethyst, Myra Thakkar. Myra Thakkar from Amethyst. I'll move on and I'll come back to this name again. Sukhjit Singh Bawa.
Yes.
Adya Khanna.
Yes.
Shahna Yagnik.
Yes.
From Citrine, Ridan Ratan Gaira.
Yes.
Aaron Panjikaran.
Yes.
Jay Mehta.
Yes.
Seher Sakpara.
Yes.
From Perido, Tiana Parekh.
Yes.
Sara Rastogi.
Yes.
Viha Modi.
Yes.
Anaya Chheda.
Yes.
From Sapphire, Araf Shahari.
Yes.
Ayush Rao.
Yes.
Hriday Shah.
Yes.
Jayvardhan Gupta.
Yes.
Coming back is Myra Thakkar here.
I can see. Myra, unmute yourself.
Present, ma'am.
All right, thank you. The motion before the House is peer pressure has a good influence on us. The affirming teams in this debate are Amethyst and Citrine. The opposing teams are Perido and Sapphire. Before we begin the rounds, the rules for today's debate are as follows. Each speaker will be asked one question only. Members of the opposition will raise their hands and put forth their questions to any speaker as they will. That speaker will then be put on spotlight. This procedure will be followed throughout. No counter arguments for the questions asked. Once a question has been answered, no further questions to be added. Each speaker has 2 minutes to present their stance. A warning bell will be rung at 1 minute 30 seconds, a second bell at 1 minute 45 seconds, and the final one at 2 minutes. For the closure round, the bell will be rung at the end of 1 minute. No interruptions will be permitted during the speeches or when a speaker is answering the questions. Participants of the respective rounds are requested to keep your videos on at all times and only unmute yourselves when it is your turn to speak. Participants of the other two houses are requested to keep your videos off until the next round. To find out the competing houses for the first round, we will now spin the wheel.
Citrine versus Sapphire.
Yes. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming the first speaker from the affirming team, Citrine, to open the debate.
Ma'am, do I start?
Yes, Ridan.
Good morning to the honorable jury members, respected chairperson, cautious timekeeper, esteemed members of the school management, and members of the opposition teams. I strongly agree with the great Thomas Carlyle saying, no pressure, no diamonds. In my opinion, peer pressure, something like this, helps one examine oneself and ponder over one's way of doing things, motivating one to cross the barrier and achieve something great. This something great is an added value that will boost your confidence and make you shine. Our first claim is that positive peer pressure encourages the inculcation of positive habits and positive behavior. Some practices followed by the masses may teach us a good way to live and may change us for the better. If you pick selectively, positive peer pressure can result in positive changes in your life. Even it makes us more observant, alert, and attentive to the happenings around us. Even the small ones that we might overlook may prove to be very helpful for our knowledge and development. For instance, if my classmate has adopted a certain timetable to study and it is delivering better results, then I can adopt that schedule and improve my grades. When we are with our peers, we watch their habits and we can pick up some good habits from them, like reading, cycling, etc. These habits will also add to our personalities. Statistics from a family-based NGO, familyjank.org, has proved that most of the high school students say no to drugs and alcohol and other delinquent activities. In conclusion, peer pressure can be very healthy if you keep your mind open to the positive changes around, and you can learn so much from so many people in your circle. I highly recommend a dose of healthy peer pressure to keep the competitive spirit alive in us, but knowing completely well that every action and decision is a choice and learning, which may help you emerge as a winner through your darkest hour. Positive peer pressure can transform our life's views positively if we choose wisely and turn pressure into motivation to propel us in the right direction. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable members of the jury, respected chairpersons, teachers, and my dear friends. I am Aryan Panjikaran from the Citrine House. In the Mahabharata, the famous war of Kurukshetra would not have been won by the Pandavas if Arjun had decided against raising his bow at a crucial stage in the war. And the only reason why Arjun chose to fight the battle was under the influence and pressure from his dear peer, Lord Krishna. Good triumphed over evil, and likewise, peer pressure has always prevailed with a good influence on people. The famous philosopher Charles Hayes has quoted that peer pressure provides the social cohesion that allows the very development of communal affiliation. Influence of peers can help us analyze ourselves, contemplate on our ways of life, and can help us change for the better. Our second claim for the motion is the fact that peer pressure aids students in their academic performance. Positive effects of peer mentoring are evident all around us in school. Most students are motivated to get good grades and complete assignments on time because their friends are doing the same. Teachers use peer pressure for the upliftment of students all the time. Don't we all like getting more dojos for good behavior since we were in grade 1? According to a 2011 study in Child Development USA, students who learn with smarter classmates tend to perform better academically themselves. And according to a survey conducted by the Survlim Data Bank, 54% of teenagers agree that peer pressure has been positive for them. Peer pressure stimulates us to aim higher and try harder to just be as excellent as our peers. I would like to conclude by putting this thought across. Peer power as an extrinsic force is not like fuel. A little goes a long way, can ignite a constructive lifelong change in your attitude and performance. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson, jury, cautious timekeeper, my dear teachers, and the opponent team members. I am Jay Mehta from the Citrine House in the affirming team. Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. 2nd of October 2014, Gandhiji's birthday, India launched the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, a social movement to address a basic issue, hygiene and cleanliness. This movement took over as one of the best examples of peer pressure and how it influenced the character development and attitude of our population to keep the country clean. Positive peer pressure is the influence of people on their peers positively. Peers entail a broad range of people who surround us in everyday life. Their actions, reactions, and performance is determined by the people around us. Peer pressure has its advantages and benefits in different phases of one's life. As per the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, peers play a positive role in the social and emotional development of children and adolescents. When we are young, we get influenced positively by our classmates.
Don't worry.
For instance, in kindergarten, a peer influences one to learn new words. In teenage, it results in one being goal-oriented by picking up a new sport. Or in adulthood, it encourages one to acquire new skills to further promote your career in the workspace. Research also shows that life experiences such as graduation, military service, occupation, and personality development are impacted by positive peer pressure. In the field of sports, for example, we often see sportsmen encourage each other, which leads to a healthy competition, further molding a cricketer or footballer's personality, preparing one for life. Positive peer pressure enhances our abilities and helps us curb our inhibitions. To conclude, the kind of positive peer pressure one has been through reflects oneself. And as Oprah Winfrey rightly said, only surround yourself with people who will lift you higher. Thank you.
A very good afternoon, my dear friends and opponents, the respected chair and jury members, and esteemed teachers. I'm Sair Sakhupara on the affirming team from the Citrine House. Our fourth claim is that peer pressure helps you develop a healthy lifestyle, and it also prevents various health issues like high cholesterol, which also leads to diabetes and heart problems. It's in human nature to go along with the herd. No one wants to be the black sheep. Imitation is common among humans since, well, the start of time itself, says scientist Ali Ward on the very popular show Brainchild. This quote itself explains it all. As she said, no one wants to be the black sheep. When times change, people change with it. When this happens, some people find themselves imitating others. Nothing is wrong with wanting to fit in. Think about it. If your friend wore the best jacket you had ever seen, you would buy it too. If everyone starts playing a specific game, you would want to play it as well, merely so you could go and talk about it with friends. This same thing applies to everything around us. If your friend has fruit instead of chips, exercises instead of watching TV, and so he or she is active and athletic, you would be inspired by your peers and join them in this as well. That is an example of how peer pressure makes you develop a healthy lifestyle. The latest research conducted by Canadian researchers shows that inspiration from older kids helps younger children to become health conscious. The researchers said that the initiative proved successful when younger kids improved their knowledge about the benefits of this, a good healthy diet and exercise, and the self-esteem rose considerably because they had made the choices along with their older peers. As the quote goes, "Show me your friends and I will predict your future." In conclusion, I do want to point out that being healthy does not necessarily mean being a small size, but it means being at your physical and mental peak due to the choices you will make when you are under the influence of positive peer pressure. Thank you.
Thank you, Citrine, for presenting your stance on the motion. We're now going to open the debate up to questions and rebuttal. We request the opposing house, Sapphire, to ask their questions to the speakers of the citrine house, one after the other. Sapphire, questions? Okay, Arav?
I have a question for Ridan Ratan Gaira. You mentioned in your speech that you recommend a dose of peer pressure. How do you know that peer pressure won't lead to bad habits?
Because right now, many studies have proved that people in school are doing very well, and that also because the motivation that they get that leads to very good things. And if they get how much more motivation they get, it's very good for everyone in this world. Yeah, and I also recommend a dose of peer pressure because when your peers are trying something new and if they succeed in it, then you also try that, you will also succeed in it definitely. And it's better to do one thing alone. It's better to do things with your peers than alone.
Jayavardhan has a question. Jayavardhan, yes.
Ma'am, to Jay Mehta. What guarantees that the person giving the advice has your best interest in mind, as you clearly quoted, that teachers have the best interest in your mind, and working with other smarter children keeps your education in a healthy lifestyle?
I have not only mentioned that teachers can influence you the most. Parents are the biggest influence in your life because they are the only ones who can influence you the most. And even if you don't understand many times by your teachers, they can't do anything. Only your parents can influence you the most, and only then you can understand.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jayavardhan. Ayush?
Yeah, I have a question directed to Aaron.
Ms. Nupur, he wants to ask his question to Aaron.
How can I want to ask a question to you, Aaron? How can we be sure that any advice given by the peer on academics is not based on their personal choices?
Can you please repeat your question?
Yes. How can we be sure that any advice given by the peer on academics is not based on their personal choices?
See, so like if, maybe see, also parents are very important in like pushing you in life. I agree, even peers are, but even parents are. So like if you don't understand lots from parents, you can even you can take the help of your peers.
Okay.
And we have any last person asking the question? I can't see. Yes, Hriday?
Yeah, I have a question for Sahar. How can you be sure that the person in peer pressure will become healthy after seeing his friends become healthy and playing sports?
Because so as I said, my worthy opponent, as I said, so it is scientifically proven that our minds are wired to imitate others since a long time. So you will naturally do that if all of your friends are doing it, and because you want to fit in, you will also do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Citrine and Sapphire, for that questioning round. After that thought-provoking round of questions, it is time to invite speakers of the Sapphire House to put forth their claims. For this, I now call upon the first speaker.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, jury, and my dear friends. I, Arav Shari from the Sapphire House, as the first speaker, will be presenting to you my stand on the topic of peer pressure, and I will assert my stance against the motion. I would like to start with a quote by Bruce Lee. I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in this world to live up to mine. Bruce was right. We're not in this world to live up to other people's expectations, not even peers. I would like to state that peer pressure leads to stress and anxiety. Every person has experienced peer pressure at some point in their lives, often beginning in early childhood. The point I would like to raise is about stress. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, stress is a physical, chemical, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension. Causes of stress can be at work, school, or financially related. When we are under stress, we often experience anxiety, showing both are interrelated. According to the Indian Journal of Social Psychiatry, chronic stress may cause depression and anxiety among individuals. In the workplace, due to peer pressure, people do things they don't want to do. For example, few colleagues have views and opinions that are unreliable and even false. So if a person wants to fit in, he may support the gossip. This can distract him from his office duties. Let me just restate my position and also conclude by saying that fear of losing a job, impossible targets, and conflicts with bosses are some of the reasons that causes stress, which ultimately leads to anxiety and depression. According to the Anxiety Disorders Association of America 2006, survey shows that 40% of people experience excessive anxiety in their daily lives due to peer pressure, and 28% have had panic attacks. Hence, I would like to conclude my stance by saying that peer pressure influences our mental health negatively. Thank you.
Good morning, respected jury and my dear friends. I would like to begin my stance with a famous quote by Susie Casson. Stay true to yourself. An original is worth more than a copy. This is exactly what we believe in, and thus take a stand against the motion that the influence of peer pressure is a good influence on us. One of the major influences of peer pressure is passive peer pressure. Passive peer influence is when you choose to do something you wouldn't otherwise do because you want to feel accepted and valued by your friends. This causes a negative impact in your decisions in life. Let's talk about academics. Unlike what my friends from the opposition say about it creating a good influence, I would like to support my stance with a real life experience, which has been one of the old forms of peer pressure, especially in the Indian education system. Peer pressure appears to be a powerful force affecting educational choices. Satish Raju, who is now in the fourth year of engineering in the ECE course, joined engineering just because his friends had influenced him to take up engineering, while his interest lay in the study of economics. Today, he is lagging behind and has failed in more than 16 subjects in his third year. He is unable to cope up with the pressure and is desperate to join some other course. So, in the simple example reported by the Hindu, we can clearly see the effect of peer pressure at times leads to the herding camp, wherein one follows the group blindly without understanding of the consequences. This has been the case for so many of us. Here, I would like to quote Director Kondora P.V. Ramasan, who says that peer pressure impacts heavily on three fronts: career choice, higher education, and personal life. He points out the most crucial factor is when, somewhere down the line, they realize that their decision was influenced and was wrong. But by that time, in most of the cases, it is too late. To conclude, I would like to say that peer pressure is one of the most important factors affecting people negatively. Thank you.
Good morning, respected members of the jury and my dear friends. The fear of missing out on things makes you miss out on everything. I completely agree with this quote, considering the vast amount of teenagers plagued by this feeling called FOMO. Peer pressure has proved to be a leading cause of negative behavior in children and young adults. I would hence like to assert my stand against the motion that peer pressure is good. As an evidence in an experiment conducted by the psychiatrist Solomon Asch has shown how people tend to copy their behavior from others even if it doesn't make any sense to them. He hired a group of actors who acted as participants and were instructed to give the wrong answer before the test subject, who was last to answer. He gave the same wrong answer despite of knowing the right one, just to fit in the group. This shows how peer pressure influences individuals in real life situations. Have you ever looked at a new shiny phone your friend got despite being in fifth grade and immediately questioned your own cool factor? The fear of not being able to own the same toys, gadgets, clothes, etc. can lead to larger negative behavior such as stealing or shoplifting too. The young juveniles of ages 16 to 19 years are majority affected as they act impulsively. They are more attached to peers rather than family or teachers. This leads to negative behavior called as juvenile delinquency, which leads to drinking, smoking, and even vandalism. As a concluding thought, I would like to quote that it's better to walk alone than with a crowd in the wrong direction. All things are good in moderation, and it equally applies to social situations too. Thank you.
Good morning, respected jury and my dear friends. I would like to talk about the negative influence on peer pressure on our lifestyle. To begin with, lifestyle influences, people get influenced to change their looks, change their personality, their fashion choices, eating habits, etc. These are just a few examples mainly related to the younger age groups. One of the main factors of peer pressure on lifestyle change is physical appearances and fashion to look better. A severe example of this behavior is Snapchat dysmorphia. It is where people try to change their looks via plastic surgery. This process makes them aim to look like a Snapchat video filter. Teens and young adults who use social media constantly compare their faces and bodies to snaps of both peers and celebrities. This often leads them to cosmetic surgeries at early ages. To support my claim further, I would like to quote from a Times of India article where it was stated by leading psychiatrist Sanjay Chugh. He says, the teenage years is a time when an individual is struggling to make an identity for himself or herself. One of the biggest needs at this time is to belong. One wants to be approved of, especially by peers. This makes them want to do whatever is considered cool or trendy. Hence, it is not just the desire to look good that makes them take these drastic steps, but what the good looks might get them. Another leading institute also makes similar claims. The American Society of Plastic Surgeons, ASPS, reports the reason teens give for having plastic surgery. Teens view plastic surgery as a way to fit in and look acceptable to friends and peers. Some 229,000 cosmetic procedures were performed on patients aged 13 to 19 in 2017. As we all are aware, cosmetic surgeries cost a lot of money and not all youngsters can afford, so they resort to stealing or maybe go to anxiety. If in any case they are unable to keep up, they sink in depression, develop a FOMO, or even steal to fulfill their needs. In conclusion, I would like to state that lifestyle influence is something which can affect your health or your personality in a severe way.
Thank you, Sapphire, for putting forth your standpoint on the motion. We're now going to open the debate up to questions and rebuttal. We request the opposing house, Citrine, to ask their questions to the speakers of the Sapphire House in succession. Yes, Jay?
Ma'am, I would like to ask my question to the respected opponent, Rizai Shah.
Yeah.
You mentioned and concluded that to work alone is better. Does it mean that it is better than working in teams?
Thank you for the question. I actually mentioned that it's better to work alone instead of with a crowd in the wrong direction. I meant that you should not go in the wrong direction and do things like smoking, drinking, and vandalism. And it's better to walk alone in that way and leave the group and do the things that you are good at.
Thank you.
Okay. Ridan has a question.
My question is directed to Jayavardhan. So, my worthy opponent, my question is that many people struggle economically and plastic surgeries are expensive, and people will always realize that. So, before doing the plastic surgery, they'll take lots of money and it'll pain also them. It'll pain their faces or wherever they're doing it.
Thank you for the question. I would like to state that the plastic surgeries is their choice and they get influenced by the social media platforms by looking at their peers, by some posts, or else, and they try to look like a Snapchat video filter or else like a video filter in real life.
Okay, thank you.
Aaron has a question.
I have a question for Ayush. A question for you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So in your speech, you said that peer pressure is not good for academics. I'm afraid I disagree. You spoke about engineering. Doesn't the person himself has the intelligence to make his own choice? And anyways, peers will only finally help him to take the right choices, even if he hasn't made one. And you are talking about only 1% of person falling into such trap. What about the other side with 99% of people with a positive impact on people?
Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah. Yes. In your speech, you said that peer pressure is not good for academics. I am afraid I disagree. You spoke about engineering. Doesn't the person himself has the intelligence to make his own choice? And anyways, peers will only finally help him to make his right choices. And if he doesn't, and if he's not made one, and you are only talking about 1% of people falling into such trap. What about the other side with 99% of people with a positive impact?
Thank you for the question. I would like to support my stand by saying everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. One should identify their strengths and choose the right qualification instead of just following others blindly and rely on what they'll be successful in life.
Thanks.
Okay, I think Seher had a question. Yes, Seher.
Yes, ma'am. I have a question for my for Arav Shahari. Yes. So Arav, you mentioned in your speech so that when you go to work and so your colleagues will distract you from your work. You also mentioned that it will stress you, that your work is going to stress you because of your colleagues. So if you're stressed because of your job, and then if your colleagues come and then they show you something new, a new interest, then that is good. It's so it's like taking a break from the job that's stressing you so much. So then that is technically positive peer pressure. How can you argue that it's negative?
You are lagging.
Okay. So my question was, so you mentioned in your speech that your colleagues it can stress you out in your job, and then they can also distract you from your work. But I want to know that even if they distract you from the job that's stressing you so much, then they're going to show you a new interest, right? They're going to give you a break from the work that is going to be stressing you so much. So then how can you argue that it's negative peer pressure? It's actually positive.
If your colleagues show you a new thing, and then you start becoming really good at that new thing, so the colleagues become jealous of you, and then they show you bad things.
Okay. Arav, you're done answering?
No.
Okay, thank you. After those mind-boggling questions, it's time to turn back to the teams for their final statements. Starting first, we call upon a member of the opposition team to summarize their stance.
Being social is essential, but it is equally important for us to think about the consequences of our actions. All things are good in moderation is often told to us by our parents, while they are usually referring to junk food and fizzy drinks. I feel that it is equally applicable to social situations. Hence, we firmly hold our ground on the negative impact of peer pressure. Thank you.
We now call upon a member of the affirming team to encapsulate their stance.
Peer pressure will always be present as long as there is a human need to rely on each other for our social, physical, and emotional needs. Acceptance, respect, and encouragement from our peers has proven to have a positive effect on our emotional and social well-being. Therefore, we feel peer pressure can be very healthy if we choose to opt for positive learning around us. In a fast competitive world, it is good to keep a positive peer pressure spirit to grow and learn every day. Positive peer pressure will help us adapt to complex situations with ease. Peer learning will help us identify and learn through our mistakes, thereby building and inculcating positive values in us. Peer pressure will also help us build a positive habit of understanding people and maintaining transparency in all our relations. It's almost impossible to go through our lives without being influenced one way or another. So, we need to guard ourselves, stand firm, and make choices based on what we want and what is right. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of our first astounding round. We will take a break of 10 minutes and meet again for another spectacular round. Thank you, Sapphire and Citrine, for that amazing session.
Welcome back to another entertaining round of this debate. Participants are requested to keep your videos on at all times and only unmute yourselves when it is your turn to speak. Let's welcome our first speaker from the affirming team to open the second round of the debate. Amethyst House.
Okay. Before I begin, I would like to ask you a riddle. How did the first baby bird fly on its own? He had confidence. How did the second baby bird fly? He wanted to be with his mother. How did the third bird fly? Peer pressure. Good morning, respected jury, teachers, and my dear friends. I, Myra Thakkar from the Amethyst House, stand for the motion. Peer pressure has a good influence on people. Peer pressure, as per the Cambridge Dictionary, is defined as a feeling that one must do the same things as other people of one's age and social group in order to be liked or respected by them. The house believes that peer influence can positively motivate people. For example, peers can influence us to do well in school, sports, community work, and build confidence. We saw a similar impact in the DBIS Fitness Challenge, which was initiated by Ed Gusser and Father Crispino. It led to a high-impact movement of fitness as a way of life. A study conducted by Harvard and Yale states that positive peer pressure is even more effective than money incentives. At home or places of work, people who are kind, loyal, and supportive influence others to imbibe these positive qualities. If you see other people do something that takes the world a step ahead in a positive way, you get inspired and start doing the same thing. I would like to conclude with a quote by Lynn McTaggart. A collective positive thought is all it takes to change the world. Thank you.
Good morning, respected jury, teachers, and my dear friends. I, Sukhdeep Singh Bawa, the second speaker, strongly believe peers influence the community with their positive actions and inspire others to follow suit. In this current pandemic, many people took it upon themselves, trying to spread awareness about the situation, the safety practices to follow, the importance of social distancing. People inspired each other to stay indoors, People's concepts of celebrations, festivals, and happiness changed as others around them followed certain norms. Different civilizations and communities came up with new ideas to help the world. There are many evidences of this, such as the time we had switched off all the lights and lit the diyas, or the time we clapped hands, both to respect the work done by the frontliners in this current pandemic. I would like to state my evidence. The Sikh community distributed food. To more than 30,000 home cooked meals were prepared and packaged by the Sikh Center of New York for Americans in self isolation. And various religious institutions across the world sent ration to the poor people on the streets by giving them food and provided shelter to stay safe during the pandemic. Thus, there is a reason to believe that peers have the power to influence the community with their positive actions and inspire others to follow suit. Thank you.
Good morning, honorable jury, the chairperson, teachers, and my opponents. I am Chahna Yagnik, representing Amethyst. Continuing from where my colleague Sujit left, the word peer pressure has been maligned beyond recognition. Just as competition can be healthy, peer pressure is positive too. I am of an opinion that positive peer pressure motivates an individual to perform well. How? One would ask. The success of a peer inspires the person to work harder. Let me give you a personal example. The DBIS School Assembly, a forum where the achievement of our schoolmates and colleagues are recognized. I have drawn so much inspiration from outstanding students who have brought laurels to the school. DBIS School Assemblies have been instrumental in shaping our thoughts and beliefs. Peer pressure through such assemblies have resulted in several positive changes, such as eco-friendly Ganpati, waterless Holi, and a pollution-free Diwali. This year, crackerless Diwali was different and reduced pollution. But the change was not brought by a dictate. It was brought through peer pressure. If my friend or my classmate is celebrating a crackerless Diwali, why can't I? I would like to conclude with a quote from Pope Bronson. There is a powerful transformative effect when you surround yourself with like-minded people. Peer pressure is a great thing when it helps you accomplish your goals instead of you distracting you from them. Thank you.
Hi. Good morning, respected jury, teachers, and my dear friends. I am Adya Khanna from the Amethyst House. I would like to say that peers influence us to do something positive and contribute to our growth. For example, students who are committed to doing well in school with their sports can influence others to be more focused and goal-oriented. Often students develop new skills solely based on peer influence, so it would not be an exaggeration to claim that peer influence is often essential to skill development. There are many evidences for this, and I would be stating a few. The first is Jahan Sanghvi's excellence in sports. Jahan represented the school in multiple sports, including handball, football, basketball, and cricket. He was the captain of the handball under-12 team. The next example is Dhruvi Chadda's excellence in sports. Dhruvi represented the school in multiple sports, including handball, football, basketball, and hockey. An extremely talented student. He won multiple MSSA awards, finishing runner-up in the handball under-12 team and the football under-12 team. The best point is that because of the positive, competitive spirit, our school has done exceedingly well, both at inter-school and at the national level, bringing in 86 medals at an SFA with an overall position of third from amongst 352 schools of Mumbai. These children are role models for younger children and their own classmates. They inspire everybody to try their best and do well. Thank you.
Thank you, Amethyst House, for presenting your stance for the motion. We will now open the debate up for questions and rebuttal. We now invite the opposing house to ask their questions to the speaker of the affirming house one at a time. Tara Rastogi has a question.
I have a question for Chahana Yagnik.
Yes.
So, Chahana, in your speech, you said peers motivate us to push ourselves. But if you look at it from my point of view, you can say that peers motivate you to do something that you don't really want to, and you are only doing it to get the approval of someone you don't really care about.
Thank you for the question. I would like to say, everybody wants to improve themselves in some or the other way. By doing the bad thing, they're just not improving themselves. If all of us have goals and want to be a better person in life, if you are doing the negative things your peer says, how will you improve yourself?
Thank you. The next question. Tiana Parekh has a question.
I would like to ask my question to Myra Thakkar.
Yes.
What is the question? You spoke about the bird. In relation to that, we all have heard about crab culture. There, when one crab tries to take a positive step, the others bring them down. What is your take on that? I just lagged a little, so could you repeat? Sure. You spoke about the bird. In relation to that, we all have heard about the crab culture. There, when one crab tries to take a positive step, the others bring them down. What is your take on that? So it's about the values of an individual. Like I want to say that if the crab is trying to do something positive, then that crab is also influencing other crabs to do that positive thing.
Thank you. Anaya Cheda, your question, please.
Why wouldn't you want to? I want to ask a question to Adya. Why would you not want to highlight and follow? Why would you want to highlight and follow someone specific? Don't we have our own mind?
Thank you for the question. So I would want to say that you do have your own mind and it is your choice to choose if you want to follow that person. And those children are encouraging you to do it. But it is, in the end, it is your choice to do it. So in the end, it's your own belief.
Okay, thank you. Our last participant, Ms. Viha, your question, please.
So my question is to Subjit. So my question to you is, the first rule of social distancing is not to have a crowd. But if you are following a crowd which is going the wrong direction, then you cannot follow it.
First thing is social distance.
My worthy opponent, Via, thank you for your question. But we must check the authenticity of an. We must think twice before we fall. We follow we do an action. We must think twice before we do it, and we must check how much was the authenticity of it. So if since you talked about social distancing, we must check how much authentic it is to follow it. And
Are you done, Sukhjit? Okay, that was lovely. Thank you so much. After that riveting round of questions, it is time to summon the speakers of the Peredo House to put forth their claims. For this, I now call upon the first speaker of the opposing house.
Good morning, Judy, teachers, and my dear opponents. I am Tiana Parekh from Grade 4A, and today I am here to prove my point against the motion. When you say yes to others, make sure you aren't saying no to yourself. Peer pressure can impact anyone, especially teens. Negative peer pressure occurs when friends negatively influence each other. Direct negative peer pressure is friends directly asking someone to do something. This is a powerful form of peer pressure because it's much more difficult to resist. A teen is afraid of someone to make fun of you and losing their friends if he or she doesn't do what is asked. Indirect peer pressure is what one sees and hears other teenagers doing and tries to copy it to fit into the group. But why try to fit in when you are born to stand out? Peer pressure often leads to adoption of dangerous habits. Teens are pressured into activities that, while seemingly harmless and cool at the time, can affect the rest of their lives. Here are a few examples of negative peer pressure's bad habits: smoking, drinking alcohol, lying to their parents and misbehaving with them, rash driving, distraction from school work, developing bad behavior and bad attitude. According to the Kenya Lung Association, my friends smoke and I thought it was cool are two of the main reasons those between the ages of 12 and 17 start smoking. Also, according to the North Carolina ABC Commission, 61% of students answered that their friends and peers are the greatest source in influence in underage drinking. Clearly, this type of peer pressure can have serious, lifelong consequences. To conclude, I would say that an activity that begins as an adventure becomes a permanent habit and can affect your future life. With this, I close my case. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tara Rastogi and I'm from Peredo House. Honorable Chair and members of the House, all of us want to belong or fit in to some extent. However, it should be absolutely okay not to do so when we can't or don't want to. But peer pressure does not let you be okay. One can get labeled as snob, unfriendly, or worse, weird. Why is it that some of us in the same class or activity group feel that people avoid them during lunch or just hanging out? I would like to ask everybody, especially my opponents, a question. Are we really not guilty of excluding someone from something just because he or she is not like us, whatever that means? My worthy opponents may argue that peers help us see and do things differently, and I agree that is good. What I resist is the pressure to change. Our individuality is our strength, and a true peer group should celebrate that and not leave us out. How many times can we be like others? Peer groups can be so varied. The chatty ones, the arty ones, the sporty ones. I can only be happy so long as I am not trying to be like everybody else, but bring my best self to everything. But the pressure to be like peers is so high that it leads to stress and hurtful experiences. It can make a person feel bad about themselves or their family. Such situations can even lead to isolation or suicidal thoughts. But as always, you are different and you should embrace it. Let me conclude by saying that my team and I are strictly against the motion. However, we do not want to create any pressure in the opposition to agree, as they might be worried now what if at the end they are the only ones left believing peer pressure is good. To that I say, it's absolutely okay. You'll still be my great friends, just not great debaters. Thank you.
Good morning, respected judges, teachers, and my dear opponents. I am Viha Modi from the Peridot House, and I strongly believe that peer pressure has a negative influence on people. Jeff Moore's statement sums up this point. He once quoted, "Peer pressure is the pressure you put on yourself to fit in." Imagine you are with classmates when a friend from another school approaches. Your classmates start making fun of her. You know it's hurtful, but you want to fit in. You laugh. The social influence to adopt a certain type of behavior, dress, or attitude to be accepted by peers. Peer pressure can cause teens to partake in life-threatening activities such as drinking and drugs. Children start to look cool, have fun, and relieve boredom even if they know it's wrong and leads to detrimental health issues, only to be accepted. Statistics show that 40% of children in the age group of 14 have become alcoholics. 86% of teens surveyed in the US said that they experienced peer pressure. More than 90% of preteens in the US have social media, despite the age restriction is 13. This causes peer pressure to start at a young age because people tend to post the best of themselves online, causing children to be more self-conscious. As I said, either to maintain your self-esteem or to boost your low esteem, you fit in the pressure of your peers. Just as all problems, including the pandemic, have a solution, I want to leave a parting thought. There is only one way to deal with negative peer pressure. Don't fit in, instead fit within. Set your attitude right. Bruce Lee once said, "I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in this world to live up to mine." With this, I rest my case. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, respected judges, and my dear friends. I am Anaya Chedda from the Peridot House. On the negative side, my team firmly believes that peer pressure has a very negative influence on teenagers. I would love to present some compelling statistics that lend credence to my team. Allow me to focus on how peer pressure can affect mental health. Oprah Winfrey says, "Only surround yourself with people who lift you higher." When you're in the wrong company, the influence of peers can result in you doing something that doesn't fit your sense of right and wrong. It is an invisible but a very powerful force acting upon us that can do serious damage to our mental health. A survey of US teens aged 13 to 17 shows around 70% of teenagers suffer from anxiety and depression, which is a major mental health problem. Peer pressure can invade our mind. It can prevent us from seeing things or making decisions the way we would normally do. It can stop us from thinking. In conclusion, it's my fervent hope that students become more aware of the situation and understand the ill effects of peer pressure. It's better to walk alone than in a crowd going in the wrong direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Peridot House, for presenting your stance against the motion. We now throw open the debate up for questions and rebuttal. We request the affirming House to put forth their questions to the speakers of the opposing House, one after another.
I have a question for Tiana.
Yes.
So she talked about peers can influence you to take up the habit of drinking and smoking and using alcohol. So there are also peers can it depends on the individual's thoughts and control. Some do fall into the habit But people with strong values don't fall for this. The people with strong individual values will decide. So, do you agree with me?
Thank you for the question. Young students can't decide what is wrong or what is right for them. They get influenced by what they see and what they hear from their peers and just blindly follow them. Also, according to the North Carolina ABC Commission, 61% students answered that their friends and their peers are the greatest source of influence in underage drinking. Also, a study conducted by Parents Further claimed that only 10% of students could say no to their peers for doing bad habits, but 90% couldn't say no because of the high influence of negative peer pressure.
Thank you. Sukhjit, your question, please.
My question directs to Tara.
Yes.
You said that you don't want to change, where change is the permanent thing in life.
Thank you for your question. By what I meant by change is when you get influenced by your peers, you feel the need to be like them and lose yourself. You forget who you are and always want to fit in and never stand out. And by change, I mean is when you just completely want to become like them, change yourself to be someone else. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Adya, your question, please.
So my question is to Anaya. So you said that you may follow something that is wrong. On that point, I want to say that if you think it is wrong, you should not break your beliefs and go follow others. Do you think that is right?
Can you please repeat your question?
Sure. My question was, you said that you may follow something that you think is wrong. On that point, I would want to say, if you think it is wrong, then why should you break your beliefs and go follow others? Do you think that is right?
You shouldn't follow them because they 1 minute. Yeah, because they can be wrong, and because of peer pressure, they can control yourself. They make decisions for you in your life, and then you lose your thinking power. And when you have to make major decisions in life, you'll be confused, you'll be frustrated and irritated from life, and then you will feel lonely and want to isolate yourself. That will give you thoughts to your mind to harm yourself or commit a suicide. It can cost a life. Statistics by National Crime Records Bureau shows that 10,159 students committed a suicide in the year 2018, and that increases each year. It's sad to know.
Thank you, Ms. Anaya. Ms. Johanna, your question, please.
My question is to Viha.
Yes.
So, if I can give you an example of peer evaluation. In school, we all evaluate. Peers help us tell you where you have gone wrong and where you are right. So, why would you call peer pressure negative? In that place, peers are actually helping you be a better person. What would you say on that?
So I think it depends on the peers you have. And statistics show that 90% of high school girls are dieting every day. That means that peers are persuading them so much. And 81% of
thank you. Go ahead, go ahead. Would you like to continue?
Yes.
Ms. Viha?
And
yes, please go ahead.
Also, one more point. 13% of women smoke to lose weight. So there are so many people who are getting persuaded.
After that engaging round of questions, it's time to turn back to the teams for their final statements. Starting first, we call upon a member of the opposition team to summarize their stance.
Can I start?
Yes, please.
Peer pressure. Say those two powerful words and they strike fear in your heart. Add negative to that. And those three are a juggernaut force that can decimate people and their confidence in a matter of seconds. Peer pressure has negative effects that can lead to a variety of issues, all of which can have devastating effects. Teens often fall easily into peer pressure, and life becomes a minefield of potential social and mental challenges for many. Reckless behavior usually occurs in peer contexts, and in all likelihood, their peers are pushing them to try these behaviors. To summarize, I would like to draw your attention to a quote from the Corinthians. Never underestimate the influence of people you have allowed into your life. Bad company corrupts good morals. Thank you.
Thank you. Affirming team, your stance?
Yes. Peer influence has numerous positive effects, which have been stated by my teammates. The positive effects of peer influence are many, and there are many ways to improve the way you live with peer influence. If you can pick selectively, peer influence can result in a positive change in your way of life. Friends often encourage each other to study, try out for sports, or follow new artistic interests. While we are constantly influenced by those around us, ultimately the decision to act or not to act is up to us as individuals. So, when it comes to decision making, the choice is up to you. And I am confident that everybody will make the right decisions and benefit from peer influence.
Thank you, Peridot and Amethyst House. That was simply sensational. While the scores are being calculated, we will call upon Father Crispino to address the gathering.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Father.
Yes, Father.
Yes, Father.
Okay. So in the first place, congratulations to all those who have taken part in this debate. Okay. It's been amazing listening to you. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time a debate is taking place in the PYP?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
for your first take on it, I think your research work was really intensive. Yeah. Your vocabulary, I was flabbergasted by some of your vocabulary, the words that you used. I had to thumb the dictionary to find the meanings of some of those words. But it only shows that the teachers have really worked hard with you and prepared you all well. Yeah. And some of you are really outstanding. So it's really good to see the way, how eloquent you are in, in putting your points forward, even grasping what the question is, and then responding to it. So all in all, well done. Okay, to Gladys and the whole team. in the PYP, the host, and especially loved Ria opening the whole debate with her introductory words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
I think we
Yeah,
need to give them some time to calculate the scores. I think they're still doing that.
Miss Gladys, it's almost done.
Is done? Yeah.
Almost done, yes.
Few seconds more, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before I announce the winners, good morning, everybody. I would want to speak a little bit about the debate and what happened this morning. Children, you all were very, very impressive. The lucid manner in which you expressed yourself, your rebuttal, really very proud that yes, as you grow, you will become the debaters of the school. And this is a skill which I think all of us, as Father said, we need to have it, because when we see debates, whether it's a parliament or whether it is on TV, we feel, why are people screaming in this manner? Is anyone being heard? Putting your thoughts in a manner that people listen to you and are convinced about what you're speaking is very, very important. And you all did exactly that. I want to also thank the teachers, of course, Miss Gladys, the mind behind the debate, and also our teachers, Miss Hemangini, Miss Sabrina, for conducting the whole debate today. Also need to thank the teachers. I think there were a number of them who did sit with you all and explain to you the norms about debating. There was Miss Anupama, there was Miss Sabrina and Hemangini were conducting the debate. There was Miss Shraddha, there was Toral, there was Yuti, there was Alice, there's Miss Poonam, Miss Snowy. I hope I didn't leave anyone out. But each one of you all spend your afternoon with these children, training them for the debate. There's one more very important person who had a session with our debaters, Miss Tavishi. And yes, Miss Tavishi Rastogi, I think you have put the right debating spirit into our children. That's why we could see the confidence today. Thank you so much, and spending your valuable time in helping us to conduct our first juniors debate, which was such a grand success. Now to the scores, which I'm sure you're all eagerly waiting for. So I want to know, who do you think is the winning house?
Citrine.
Fire.
Amethyst.
Which is the winning house?
Amethyst.
Citrine.
Amethyst.
Okay.
Citrine.
So I'll just give you a hint. The winning house was against the motion. Which house was that? Perido house is the winning house. Okay, so I'll just tell you all the points. In the first place, usually we start from the fourth place, but since I said who's the winner, I need to tell you the points that you got. In the first place, we have the Perido house with 162.5. We have the Amethyst house with 148 points. In the third place, we have the Citrine house with 144.5 points. In the fourth place, we have the Sapphire house with 144 points. Now, who do you think was the best speaker? Come on. Yes, who you think was our best speaker? Any guesses for that? Come on. So for that, you'll keep guessing till I tell you the other winners. So the best person questioning there on the panel was Aaron Panchikaran. Can we clap for him? Congratulations, Aaron. Spoke well too.
Thanks.
The best rebutter was, any guesses for that? I thought she answered beautifully. Come on. Who was it? Tiana Parekh. And the best speaker at today's debate is Miss Tara Rastogi. Congratulations, Tara. Well done. Thank you, Shannon and Melissa, for judging the event. I think you all did a wonderful job. It's not easy to be a judge on a virtual platform for a debate. Yes, it's different when you see the children actually debating in a hall or in an auditorium where we have it. But yes, you all did a wonderful job and thank you so much. And thank you, Miss Nupur again, Miss Sabrina, Miss Hemangini, for all the work behind this, led of course by Miss Gladys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
We now invite the honorable jury members for their feedback. Miss Melissa.
Morning, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to thank you very much for inviting me as a judge for this debate competition. It's been an amazing morning for me, and I can see the quality, the work that you have put in individually as students that you have put in, and your teachers that have worked so hard to train you with the little skills, all the skills that are needed for a debate. I know, as ma'am rightly said, it's quite difficult. We are at an online platform. It's difficult to even conduct a debate. But the teachers have done a fabulous job in training you, and you yourself have kind of worked so hard with your skills of communication and things like that. So very much proud of each one of you today. Being a DBIS teacher myself, I am so proud to see each one of you, and we are hoping you'll come to the middle school and we can have a lot of activities with you. We are looking forward. But one important thing that I want to ask you a question today is, what do you think? You have learned so many skills, okay? Delivery skill, communication skills, research skills. You may have seen your rubrics that was given to you that the judges will be judging you on. Can you tell me what is the most important, or according to you, what do you think is the most important skill? You will say a lot of skills. Let me see. I'm just throwing this question to you. What do you think is the most important skill in a debate? Yes, I'll speak to. I'll take Tanya. No, yeah, yes. Tiana. Yes. Yes, Tiana. Parekh. Yeah.
I learned communication skills because it used me communicate and answer the question.
Okay, so Tiana is saying communication skills. Anybody else?
Yes.
Yes, yes, Aaron.
Yes. Ma'am, I agree with Tiana, communication skills and even research skills, because we need to research for our information.
Okay, anybody else? One more, last answer.
Yes. Can I?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Listening skills.
Who said that?
Anaya.
Oh, thank you, Anaya. You are kind of nailing the right thing. What I want to speak today is listening skills. Okay, remember, in a debate, you may speak very well. You may be the most eloquent speaker speaking there. You have trained yourself. You have mugged up that speech. You have the best expression and the gestures there. But the crucial round is the rebuttal round, where you have to have this listening skills. And if you don't pay attention to what question that is posed to you for your particular claim, you may just go everywhere and you will lose out on major chunk of marks there. And I think that's what happened to most of the houses, that you were not listening. Okay, you're not listening to the question. So the right to speak, listen to what I'm saying, the right to speak comes with the duty to listen. Okay, so that is the most important thing in a debate or any discussion that you have. You have to be a good listener, and being a good listener is a life skill. It's a life skill. And I think all teachers and all those in the field of education, this is one skill. You may have research, you may have a lot of skills, for your life, that will help you in your academic career. But if you don't have listening skills, I think you will never succeed in life. I think this is one of the most important skill that you have to train yourself in a near future. Even when you join MUN and you do the Model United Nations, I think even there, all these top debate skills that we learn, the most important is listening skills. And I think, and the teachers have put that criteria so well in the rebuttal round. I want to thank the teachers for putting that rubric there for listening. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure. It was a very difficult task to kind of select the best house, because all of you have done a fantastic job and you all spoke so well. So thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Ms. Melissa. Shannon, sir, your feedback.
Good day, Father. Good day, Ms. Meena. Good day to all the teachers present here. Firstly, I want to say a big thank you for giving me the chance to kind of be here as a jury on this lovely, lovely debate that you guys have, because I feel it's an honor for me from going from student of Don Bosco to teacher of Don Bosco and now judging an event at Don Bosco. So it's a whole cycle that I've taken. And I must say that the teachers have done such a fabulous job in training all of you, right from your speeches to the way you ask your questions, the way you answer your opposing team. I think the ethics that a debate needs, everything is grilled so well into you by your teachers. So I think both the teachers and you need to give a pat on your backs for being such wonderful debaters in the morning. One feedback, the feedback that I have is mostly in the form of something that my teacher told me when I was as young as you, speaking at Don Bosco's, and this is not many years ago. And it's in the form of an acronym. Today we were speaking about peer pressure, right? So I'm going to give you the acronym of PALS. What are PALS? Your friends, right? You know what PALS are. So I'm going to give you an acronym called PALS, P-A-L-S, where P stands for your pace. Am I fast? Am I too slow? Ask yourself this question when you're speaking. So the P stands for your pace. The next A stands for the audience. Am I able to connect with my audience? Now, obviously, we are on a virtual platform where it may get a little difficult, but am I able to maintain my eye contact? Am I able to use my hand gestures well? So that's what the A stands for. The L, very importantly, stands for your link. Many a times in the rebuttal round, you tend to lose the link of the topic. You go completely off topic. So the L stands for, am I able to be linked to my main topic of the day? And finally, the S stands for your structure. Is my speech structured well? Am I beginning well and am I ending well? And I must point out the end, especially when it comes to a speech. It's very important that they say end with a bang. And Tara Rastogi's end, I think, brilliant end to a speech. So really commendable job by all the speakers. And I hope you guys, and like Ms. Melissa said, I think we share the same sentiment where we are waiting for you guys to come to middle school and maybe we do some more events with you. So looking forward to this and thank you once again.
Thank you so much. We now invite Rajveer to give the vote of thanks.
With this, we come to the end of our debate. With a deep sense of appreciation, we extend a heartfelt gratitude to Father Crispino, Miss Meena, and Miss Gladys for being the catalyst that inspired us to do our best and stand as a pillar of power. We express a sincere thanks to the jury, Miss Melissa and Mr. Shannon, for gracing this occasion despite their busy schedule. Such an event requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be supported by a team of very motivated and dedicated house mentors who put in untiring efforts. We thank Ms. Toral, Ms. Charlotte, Ms. Nupur, Ms. Snowy, Ms. Alice, Ms. Yuti, Ms. Krishna, Ms. Reema, Ms. Poonam, Ms. Shraddha, Ms. Hemangni, and Ms. Sabrina. We also thank Ms. Anupama for being the timekeeper today. We are grateful to Ms. Hemangni and Ms. Sabrina for chairing this event. We would like to acknowledge our gratitude to the technical team for easing out the process of this virtual debate for us. Our gratitude goes out to all the parents for their rock-solid support and encouragement. We extend a special thanks to Ms. Tavishi Rastogi for lending her support. We would also like to thank our budding rock stars who made this event what it was, with their impressive performance. The hard work of your days was evident throughout. Most importantly, Our sincere thanks to the Almighty God for making today's event a grand success. By His blessings and grace, we were able to make the event what it was. We thank everyone here for being with us this morning. It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rajveer. We now call upon Ms. Gladys to conclude the event.
Miss Gladys, you're on mute.
Unmuting. Thank you, Himangani. Yeah. Okay, all that I can say is my heart swelled with pride as I heard you speak, children. You conducted yourselves with so much confidence and maturity. And like Shannon sir said, you followed the ethics that were needed in a debate. So, yeah, good job there. It conjured up, as I was listening to you speak, it conjured up thoughts and images in my mind. Looking at you as young adults speaking confidently and communicating confidently to audiences or to your colleagues in whatever field you take up, and be happy and successful individuals, because communicating the way you did today is a key competency in your futures. Teachers, I'm extremely grateful to you all. Eternally grateful, I would say, for all that you have done and that you do. You paid attention to little details, the care you took, and persevere to do beyond your best in planning and mentoring our kids. Love you all so much. Thank you, Miss Meena and Father Crispino, for the faith and trust you place in us and for lending us your support in all that we do. Miss Melissa and Shannon, thank you for your valuable feedbacks. I'll never forget pals. I've never come across that before. And yes, Miss Melissa, listening is something that's so important in all areas of our lives. And with this, I call it a day. Thank you, parents and students, for joining in and supporting your team and your students and your classmates. Big thank you and a virtual hug to Riya Sriram. Sorry, I forgot about this. To Riya Sriram and Rajveer Sangvi for so eloquently introducing and closing this event. So thank you all very much and have a great day.